Fires is going to be the final series, a best of five between Digital Chaos and Root Gaming. Game two, we ended up seeing Digital Chaos take game one. I am at Lyrical Dota, joined today by Tralf. And is there anything in particular that you're expecting this game? You hoping that we might end up seeing a little bit more of that early aggression, potentially another Tusk Undying combo, or do you think that people are going to be making changes in this one?
Oh, I'm sure there's going to be tons of little changes, but just depends on what bans come out. Wondering if Root ban out that Lich again. They banned out the Doom, SF, and Quap banned out. And yep, there is the Lich ban. I would not be surprised if DC take out the first pick, Slardar. I know that Bulba really likes to play Slardar. Had a lot of success though last game with Tusk, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that either. But I think that these first two picks, I should say from each side, are going to be, dictated by who takes what. As far as who takes Slardar, well, then I get Tusk.
Yeah.
So I think in the beginning it'll be more of the same. I will tell you this, I don't expect Root to take Viper though. Again, I think it's one of those games or one of those heroes that's like, I usually see it fail, and if it does, it's usually never picked up again for that team. And if it doesn't, it's probably still not picked up for that team.
Yeah.
Because not only is it just, I feel like underwhelming, but it's just not fun to play. But anyway, Root, they get both. DC take the Wyvern and Root take both the Tusk and Slardar.
Interesting, and I wonder if this is going to lead DC to go for maybe that Darkseer combo now. You took two of the sort of preeminent, predominant, and just generally good offlaners. This does leave one of the other ones open that's always available there. Do you? I did feel like last game they actually go for the gyrocopter instead. That the Winter Wyvern that we saw Digital Chaos play Owie, he is actually, I believe now after that game, 6-0 on this hero. He really fits. It just fits well with what he wants to be able to do, and it's a playmaking hero. And we saw that come to fruition a lot last game. Do you like the first pick Wyvern here?
I absolutely do, and just the fact that he played so well in it last game, it's kind of like it's in my comfort zone right now. I mentally know exactly how I want to play because I just played it flawlessly last game. So it's the same idea as opposite of what I said with Viper. Like, it didn't work, don't want to pick it. It did work, yeah, just pick what is and broken. So think it's totally fine. I also think Wyvern is just a super, super strong hero in any lineup. There's never really a lineup where it's like, no, you picked Wyvern, is countered by this. Of course, I mentioned the Lina last game. There are things that you can pick that are good against it, but overall, the ult's always going to be effective. The Q, or sorry, I'm a Quart user. The Arctic Burn is always going to be good in lane. Things like the Splinter Blast is always going to be a good harassment tool. So I think it's totally fine and very, very first pick worthy. But you do also give up things like Slardar Tusk together. So presumably Slardar offlane with a Tusk as a roaming 4 is my guess.
Yeah, definitely. Well, time will tell indeed. It's both of those heroes can roam relatively effectively, probably Tusk a little bit more effectively, but with the changes that we've seen to Slardar, the sort of smaller one where you no longer you have phase movement when you're in the sprint form for Slardar. The bigger thing is just getting that, the 2 levels in it. What is that actually at when you're at 2 levels? 28% movement speed, that's really impressive, and it gives you a lot more ability to be, active and making things happen across the map just without a blink dagger even. We're also going to be seeing the Bane banned out. Darkseer is not going to be making an appearance, nor is the Wind Ranger from the last game. So I think that right now, given the way that these lineups are set up, there's not really much that's been revealed on either side. As you talked about, of course, this is probably going to be, the roaming a little bit more Tusk. But for Digital Chaos, I kind of always still feel a little bit concerned about a gyrocopter if you don't have a Dazzle. Do you think he's still going to be okay with just the Winter Wyvern there to keep him safe?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, last game they had the Undying, which I guess gives you a little bit of support with that heal, but it's certainly not a Dazzle. I think he'll be fine. And Winter Wyvern, I think I touched on this point just a little bit. It's really, really good right now in the meta because people are so focused and emphasizing this negative armor and physical damage output strategies, and that Cold Embrace just kind of stifles that. So very, very popular. It was already a great hero, and now because of the way that the meta is evolving, it's becoming an even more of a good hero. So we've also seen things like PA come out into some certain drafts. Like I've seen Archon pick up PA and Magnus a lot. more of that physical damage carry kind of style. And again, Root go with the Lina. I wouldn't be surprised to see it mid this time. It didn't seem like it did a lot for me on the support, and I don't think it was necessarily the hero. I think it was decisions on where to lane. Just couldn't find a good home in the laning phase. Still could go support. I mean, Lina Tusk is a very very strong duo. Um, Lina can play the hard five. They can roam mid really really easily. Still a lot of options here for Root.
You know, and it is interesting also that Root decided to switch on upsides here. In the break, they were trying to decide which one they wanted to go. We'll come to this in just a second because this is somewhat of an interesting pick here. But they opted to heavily prioritize taking the side of Radiant. And this might end up coming into a little bit of play. It means that the Roshan taking capabilities aren't quite there as much. But favoring the side for now, definitely one of those ones that leads into a little bit better stacking wise. This Earthshaker pick, this is a hero that we haven't seen much at all. What do you think about this guy? Is it just mainly his inability to deal with offensive dual lanes? Is there something else about this hero that we haven't seen him recently?
He's a fantastic hero in pretty much all stages of the game. He gives you lots of control early on with Fisher blocks for creeps, um, Fisher blocks for certain engagements. But his popularity as an offlaner has gone down simply because, like I said for last game, you want heroes that can kind of get up in the face of people like Tusk, like Slardar, and like just battle them. Earthshaker's not really much of an early battler. He's kind of like a spellcaster with an unimpressive nuke in terms of damage, with not very high frequency and being able to cast it. Um, but if you do have a good laning stage and you're able to get, you just kind of, if you're quiet and you sit there and you just kind of do your own thing and come out with like a 15-minute tranquil soul ring blink, you can be absolutely devastating. I'm not 100% sure whether he's going to be played as a 5 or a 3 this game. I think I've seen Buryu play this. I know that Bulb is a very very good Earthshaker though, and they have one more pick, so the last pick will dictate it. But um, I think it's I think it's personally a little bit stronger as an offlaner here than a 5, because he's not going to be getting like, if he's played as a 5, he's not going to be getting any farm. If I know, Buryu plays again like the kind of PPD, sacrifice my farm to just buy all the wards kind of play. And I think Earthshaker just really, really benefits from items. So that's just my own personal opinion, but obviously they have the last say. Silencer picked up here for Root. I love this hero. Big, big fan of this hero in almost any lineup. Um, I just think the global is just so strong if used the perfect time.
Yeah, definitely. Templar Assassin also going to be making a repeat appearance this time for Digital Chaos instead on that dire side. And we do see a last pick Slark after the Spectre and Dazzle bans. So it looks like Root were thinking that this was going to be an offlane shaker as well. They have a lot of damage already. They have a lot of ability to get on up there and just sort of tear people apart. The thing that I'm wondering now is if they're going to opt to go for a little bit more control now that they have this Slark here. It's some sort of a notoriously hard to pin down hero. Do you think that they have enough, or do they need to sort of go back into their bag of tricks and find somebody else to help keep control of the little fishy guy?
I think they do if they get their items. Like now, I really would like to see the offlane Earthshaker, because if he gets items, he's really good against Slark. The instant cast Echo makes it almost impossible, especially if you're smoked. If you're smoked, it makes it impossible to Dark Pact out of that stun. And even if you do, the great thing about Earthshaker and heroes like Gyrocopter is that they do AoE damage that doesn't need to target anything, so you can still do damage to him. I always thought SF was like one of the best heroes against Slark. A lot of people think it's the other way around, but I think the ability to be able to cast the Requiem on top of a Slark who's ulted, it kind of nullifies Slark's ult, but he's banned out first, of course. But yeah, I think Slark is it's good against Gyro because, like I said, the AoE damage with the nuke power from Gyro is good, but Slark wants to just jump in there and not be scared of a Gyro, and that's the only thing that Gyro has that can hit Slark. So in that sense, it's good, but I really think, like I said, Earthshaker should be played as an offlane, but we'll see. Digital Chaos taking a lot of time thinking about this, and it is going to be the offlane Earthshaker, I believe.
All right.
And I like this. Visage here picked up 2. He's very, very comfortable as hero, so I think now they're going to switch in roles just slightly, with Buryu taking the Wyvern, although I've seen him play that before.
Very, very interesting. Well, taking their last couple of seconds here to think about if they do indeed want to do that. I I wonder here, does sort of the start that you get determine if Slark is going to be able to take on down that gyrocopter as well? It kind of feels like if, a Slark goes for an early Shadow Blade and gyrocopter has any kind of backup, he's not really going to be able to burst him down in time. Do you think that that's true, or can a Slark really just rip through a gyrocopter there, sort of on his own some?
He can definitely rip through them because they have the global from Silencer. So there's no save potential coming out. If you initiate with the Slark and pop the global, there's nothing they can do. I think it's okay to go for a Midas though for Slark. I think Slark getting a Midas is pretty good. I'm speaking and it says party with an X through my microphone. Maybe I need to restart.
Okay.
I'm gonna restart just to be safe here.
I think that you. Okay, yeah, we'll try that again real quick, just to make sure that everybody at home can hear those lovely pipes of yours. I'll do a quick little introduction.
I'm gonna
to
switch
players.
this to team. I
Okay.
think maybe.
Okay, sounds
Oh,
good.
yeah, I think it's working now.
Wonderful. Oh, we have Root Sand King here. He's going to be playing on the Silencer off to the side. Willis is going to be playing on the Slark. I'm going to have a ton of fun with this one consistently throughout the game. Slardar versus Slark. It's just something that I struggle with in my life. It's a thing that I deal with, and you know what? It's fine. 747 is going to be playing the Lino. We got Derp Derp on the Tusk. Last but not least, Chuan is going to be on that Slardar. Are you backing into the game as well now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll let you introduce DC this time around.
DC, we got TC taking up the gyrocopter up top. Yawar playing the Templar Assassin with his buddy Owie playing the Visage nearby. Buryu taking the Winter Wyvern. He actually bought boots first, too. And then Bulba playing the offlane Earthshaker.
So I feel like when you have the Winter Wyvern pick up those boots early, we see some shenanigans over in the mid lane, whether it's through trying to take on out an early courier, bringing on out the bottle, or potentially even going for a bit of harassment there. It does look like they're going to be getting into a bit of a fight. Last word committed on a TC, but this is going to ensure that TA gets that bounty rune, and actually the Earthshaker is able to get the bottom one as well. So pretty decent start there. Not bad at
Yeah.
all.
I'm actually surprised Root didn't take that fight. Like, Gyrocopter's pretty scary level 1, but what you can do if he rocket barrages, if you just all clump up, that doesn't really do any damage at all. And you can even snowball to mitigate all of it. TA does nothing in level 1 engagements, really. And while the Wyvern's pretty scary with Arctic Burn, it only lasts so long. I'm really surprised that, I mean, look at their heroes. They had Tusk, Silencer, who's nah, but Tusk, Lina, Slardar, those are very, very good level 1 heroes. So a big early win here, if I can call it that, for DC.
Yeah, definitely. Well, it does look like the Winter Wyvern is going to be posturing to try and take on out this bottle, but it's not going to be here anytime soon. Did go for the Null Tally as well as the 2 Ironwood branches, and actually it's just going to be coming around for a little bit of a gank. They get to Arctic Burn down on 747, tried to go for the damage with the Psy Blades, but not quite in range, and Lena going to take some harassment, but ensuring this early lane here, making sure that it's going good for the TA.
Yep. Yeah, and I think this matchup is actually, most people think the TA wins this, and I remember Sumail playing against Shiki in TI4. I still remember this, and him messaging me saying, lol, people still think that TA beats Lina because he dominated Shiki on that matchup. And that being said, I think with Fiery Soul, you can win this lane, but the fact that he didn't get a bounty rune and TA did, a lot of people don't like to talk about it, but it actually makes a humongous difference. It really does. If anyone who's ever played matchups where it's kind of like 50-50, or even matchups where you're supposed to lose and then the opponent gets a bounty and you don't, it is absolutely devastating. That on top of the fact that he's getting harassed by another hero makes it really, really hard for this Lina, and it's reflected in the CS. I mean, TA is going to be 9-3, now going to be 10-3, whereas Lina only has 4 CS and 1 deny.
Yeah, it's a very rough start. Over there, while the Lino was salving as well, it looked like the Winter Wyvern was thinking about going on in to break the salve, but instead saving the opportunity to go do a few other things, going on up and securing that top rune. That's an invis going to be finished off, and Derp Derp not quite able to, or actually able to get the bounty rune away from Bulba here. So back and forth we go, just battles for rune controls, battles for supremacy in each of these lanes, and doesn't look like, I think the big story so far is just that TA's been able to have a really good lane, and Lina is going to be able to catch up though a little bit here.
I like the fact that or not TA, but the Lina went for Fiery Soul and didn't get the stun. I think it's just really important to get the fast attacks off as much as possible. His whole idea in this lane is just spam out. Like, you're not going to get a kill at all. Just spam out and try to get CS when you can. Some more harassment coming out here. Bulba's in some trouble though too.
Fissure ends up going out. They're going to be able to get a little bit of separation, but back in the mid lane, they're trying to be able to get out of there with Biryu as well. It does look like Bulba might end up falling. We don't have another ice shards for another. Yeah, he's going to end up going down. They have the mana for it as well as the cooldown in a couple of seconds. Looks like they're going to save it for the Slark, though. Is Bulba actually going to be able to get out of here? No, I think that he is definitely dead. Just trying to get out of there, but Slark finishes him off. Last hit for that one, and first blood going to Root.
It's actually really nice, too, that Will has made that transition because sometimes committing away from your farming lane can be bad, but the lane was already pushed up to the tower, so he actually really missed nothing. And he got the last hit, so very nice rotation from the Slark. And I think Bulba was trying to go for some kind of space-created play, but it ends up backfiring, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think that with the Winter Wyvern over there having the Invis rune, they were going to try and secure a kill on the Lina, and as you mentioned, it just kind of went the other way there, unfortunately. It does look like also these camps are going to be blocked on off for the TA, so... Or no, that was a D-ward, excuse me. So they D-warded the camps, and it should stack now as long as they didn't place this one incorrectly. Yeah, and they're going to be able to get that. Tusk with the haster and is going to chase on down this Winter Wyvern. Oh, TA's in the area. If he gets a little bit too fresh, might get smacked on the bottom if he's not careful. The other thing here to keep in mind, TC has been able to get relative free farm. So despite the fact that it's 23 and 16 versus 22 and 5, the net worth graph's still going a little bit more towards the favor of the Slark, considering he got that kill.
Yeah, Slardar's not really getting any farm up here, and his levels are actually okay, and he's got boots. This was pulled here from the side by Aoi, really nicely done. It's actually a really big creep wave, so if somehow Slardar is able to like help kill out the centaurs and drag the creep wave to his left, he's actually going to get a lot out of this. So we'll see. This pull might actually backfire, as TC's trying to auto attack the creeps, but also put some mental pressure onto this Slardar at the same time. You can see him the way he's clicking and posturing, and yeah, this is going to push up. Yeah, this is actually going to push up. So if he's able to just be a little bit passive here, not get too crazy, he'll get a lot of experience. And Bulba dies again, bottom.
Oh, a little bit unfortunate. Sorry we ended up missing that one, ladies and gentlemen. Taking a look, it does look like he used the Enchant Totem as well as the Fissure, trying to get out of there, but Snowball Ice Shards as well as a Pounce is too much. Looks like they might be able to sort of punish this here. They're going to go in on the Slardar, maybe? Thought about it? No, not going to end up happening. But Biryu, if he gets caught out here, actually, a level 4 Slardar can do a good amount, but you can imagine.
Think Root need to communicate right now that they should like get 2 members to TP up and defend this, or he just gets out completely. But he's missing out on a lot of experience, and they're going to lose the tower as a result. So, oh, and this, you know what? The Gyro's level 6 at a pretty fast pace too. So this is really good movement here coming out from DC yet again. So Slardar, he's trying to play off to the side. He'll at least get the experience from these creeps, but this tower will be falling.
That is quick, 6 minutes. That is no joke at all. So this, I mean, it kind of opens up, oh god, and they're going to go immediately in on the Slardar. As soon as that ends up going down, they're going to maybe be able to find the kill. Nice crush, just right on the very edge, and he is going to be able to walk away from that
he denied it!
Oh god,
he actually got
really?
the deny. Wow, very
Mr.
nicely
Drizzy
done.
Drake. Oh, that's great. That is,
They did get the pull off to the side, so he's not going to be able to like go back into the lane and get CS, which is very, very important. A lot of times, a good year and a half ago, I would say, maybe even longer, where teams would prioritize like as fast pushing. Oh, snowball into mid. I don't think they get a kill here though, because Tia is quite good against the damage from Tusk. He's actually going to put it onto Derp now. LSA comes out, but the stun comes out from Earthshaker as well. Here comes the Slardar though, maybe putting some pressure onto Bulba. I'm surprised Laguna didn't come out, but he wants to save it. Maybe not realizing that he can get a kill with that, but yeah.
Do you think that that's worth it to save the Laguna Blade for a TA, or do you think you just throw it out there sometimes to ensure a kill on a support? Do you have a personal preference of that, or is there a better option?
Well, you definitely try. I think at the early stage, you just want to waste your ulti on anything, whether it's support or not. If you're Enigma, use that black hole on a solo hero. It doesn't matter. Just get those kills out early to try to snowball if you can. But I don't think he actually would have got the kill with the Laguna. He would have had to like auto-tech maybe twice afterwards. It would have been close. I can't remember exactly what his health was at this point, but...
Right.
Oh, snowball. Triple snowball, double snowball.
Yeah, Biryu already using Arctic Burn is going to get a Cold Embrace coming on out there, but Lina can toss it out with the Light Strike Ray if she wants. Dragon Slave at least, that's going to kill off the Winter Wyvern. Light Strike Ray finishes off this TA along with the call down on top of everybody, though. It looks like they might be able to turn this back around. The Tusk ends up falling. Oh, Drizzy Drake, you need to get out of here, buddy. So the final kill score is going to be Alina, Tusk, and Slardar dead for the TA and the Winter Wyvern. Nice trades there by DC, able to bring it on back after the failed gank. Well, they ganked. It worked. But at what
Yeah,
cost?
Cold Embrace looked like it was going to be a little bit of a double-edged sword there at the beginning, but it ended up working out. Um, Actually, it was a what was it, a 2 for 3, I think, in total.
Yeah,
Something,
DC
yeah.
took the advantage there.
You know who the big breadwinner of that all was Silencer, who now has 8 int stolen at only
Oh.
8 minutes as a support. That's pretty damn good. And then you have a Slark who went for a Midas too and didn't get involved in that. So I actually think it's relatively even though it was a favorable numbers trade for DC.
Yeah. Well, and calling it there with the Slark definitely going for that Midas and wanting to be able to accelerate into farms that
Stop.
way. Oh, the snowball, I can never see it there on it. Owie is going to potentially be caught out here, and I think that he does end up falling. Grave Chill? Oh my god, is he going to be able to get out? He does with the Soul Assumption on the turnaround. Derp Derp does end up falling. Oh, Owie. Looking very, very good there. That was close.
It was very close, but nice rotation there from the gyro. Good call down and just barely had enough damage. And the big thing that sucks about that too is it feels so terrible when you try to TP out from a gank or some kind of fight and you die while you TP because now you got to make the walk of shame back somewhere. Now you don't have a TP ready to counter gank if they go on you. It's just really, really bad. And then conversely in this game, they're going to take these Ancients unscathed. And I think it's only a triple, but it's certainly a nice boost in his economy.
Yeah, it's kind of like the fact that they made that rotation up there to try and kill on off the Visage, great, but it does mean that they're somewhat out of position at this point to be able to take these Ancients, or at least contest them. They didn't even have vision on them after the D-Ward ended up happening over there, so kind of unfortunate. I think this is definitely that win for DC. Are they going to be able to translate this into something later on? That's the real question that I have. I mean, Winter Wyvern is going to be able to get at least some amount of experience from this, so working their way on up to level 4. I still feel, though, that you've got to be able to punish this Slark here with the Midas. Do you have to wait until you end up getting something like a Blink Dagger on Earthshaker, or can you make that a sort of the kills happen a little bit earlier?
I think you actually do. The only other way you can get an instant cast lockdown onto him is the Winter Wyvern, who's only level 4 now. So, I mean, I think that, yeah, they last picked Slark, right?
Yeah.
So, and it was good in the sense that they have no other lockdown outside of the Earthshaker. Now, imagine Earthshaker being like the 5 position, and I guess they could have got maybe some other kind of lockdown hero in the offlane, but I think it's hard. Like, they only have those 2 abilities, Blink with Earthshaker and the ulti from Winter Wyvern, which isn't out. So they just kind of have to wait for that, I suppose. Smoke coming out from them, though. They want to kill this Slardar.
Going to be able to at least get the trap on down. There's the call down as well. Tons of damage. Global Silence expended for that. That might have seemed a little bit premature and didn't end up saving him, unfortunately. But you mentioned they're throwing it on out. Is that sort of a little bit of a different situation with Global where you don't always want to throw it out?
Oh, that's definitely a no-no situation. Like, he was definitely dead. Unless you had people there baiting him ready to turn, then it would have been fine, but nobody was there in the vicinity, so I don't think they were expecting that many people to go into a mid, but yeah, it's okay. You get a couple of freebies of those the wasted globals from time to time.
Yeah.
But it is a little bit devastating when you're a support silencer because you don't really do as much in fights as if you're a core, so you're much more reliant on to your ult, which, by the way, silencer gets easily solo killed by Owie with those refresh damage from those birds that just came up, and he had no escape. Very, very easy kill there for Owie.
That's the problem that I feel like whenever you run these support silencers is that if you do end up getting found out when you're trying to soak up that little bit of experience, you're just going to get killed. There's no escape mechanism. Usually if you think about like a core silencer, you're going to end up maybe having something like a force staff by that point. You can create that little bit of separation, but not going to be able to happen. We do have a two-man smoke. Are they going to be able to find TC here? I think they do spot him, but well, maybe they didn't. They're not going to actually find him now. Oh god, they're going to end up being in trouble.
It's kind of a finicky spot that they're in. Buryu, he's TPing out. He actually cancels it because he knows that the Slaughter is coming in. Stun coming out. Here comes Alina that should be a very, very dead Winter Wyvern. Not exactly the kill they want to get with a huge, long smoke gank like that, but if they can get out unscathed, they'll take it. But, Derp Derp, however, he, I think, is dead. Or?
Well,
Snowball in.
going to be able to find him. 747 is on the other side now. Going to be able to hit this Light Strike Ray, I believe. Owie dropping a little bit low. They do have the Slurk come in. They're going to be able to find the TA with this one, and he is going to evaporate. 747 double kill now. And just like that, starting to look like they're back in it. Root taking a very nice 2 quick kills there.
Yeah, it looked like Root weren't going to get much out of that smoke, but I didn't mention this either, but Slark is really good against TA. Like, the Dark Pact is something that comes up very, very frequently because of its low cooldown. Does a lot of damage, but more importantly, it takes off the refraction instantly. And Slark is a hero that just wants to get in on top of somebody like a TA, and TA can't really do anything. Like, you pop the ulti, she has no outs. She can maybe meld and hope that nobody has reveal, but at this level of play, for such an easy kill for the Slark going on the TA, you're going to have reveal. Yeah. He can even buy dust himself if it comes down to it, but Midas, I presume he goes for the Shadow Blade next, which is totally fine. Yeah, things are looking pretty good for this Slark.
Well, it's certainly going to be a situation where now they need to think about what are we going to do to control this hero. I think the Owie birds, you know, they can probably do some amount of stuff because you're going to be able to get that AoE stun when he is ultied up, but that's a really hard one to hit unless you're able to start it with a stun and then follow it up with those to sort of keep the lockdown in place. I don't know, it feels to me like there isn't a great answer, like you've been saying, to this hero, and with the Midas already up, they're not going to be able to punish it as effectively as you would want until we end up getting that Blink Dagger up on Earthshaker, which still feels like it's going to be a ways away. Just trying to soak up levels at this point. He's level 8, but only has 370 or 380 gold now.
Yeah, it's definitely not going to be the fastest Blink in the world. But Yawar is farming pretty well. I think TC's farming a bit better than he was last game, too. He's looking pretty healthy, and he's got a couple hero kills under his belt, too. He's been part of 5 out of 6. And there is the completed Shadow Blade for Slark. This is like my favorite build for the Slark right now. Getting the Midas. I think you have to get Midas, though. I'm not the best Slark player. I think he's actually kind of difficult to play.
Yeah.
I know some might disagree, as there's a lot of pubs that spam this hero. But I feel like whenever I play him, if I don't... Oh, hold that thought. There's a gank. A wraparound onto Howie, and he is more than dead.
Yeah, that ain't going to happen. He is very, very dead. Able to get off the Soul Assumption at the end, and the birds get the return kill on Silencer.
He's fine with that. He's totally fine with that. They get a tower as well. They're taking Roche. Space created.
Oh my god. And you know what? I didn't mention it, but they were in the jungle for a long time, just sort of searching around, seeing if they could find somebody. So the fact that they were able to get a return kill on the Silencer, it is worth noting he did just get his Hand of Midas finished off. Did he get to use it? No, actually, though. It was on cooldown. Or off of cooldown, so didn't end up getting to use the Midas either. Kind of a little bit of a win both ways. Punish the Midas while not even being able to get the active from it.
Oh, they're going to give Yawar solo experience, too. He's going to get, like, level 12.5. Ooh, 12 and 3/4 even. Almost level 13. Really good for him. Yeah. Perhaps can snowball from that. You still have to be careful of that Slark, though. He's really, really good against Yawar. Or, I should say, the Templar Assassin. Now, that last little thing that we saw, though, with Silencer walking back in to maybe, like, get greedy and get experience or even get the kill is somewhat acceptable just because of the fact that he steals the it and gets the extra in himself. So normally you see situations like that where they're like, you can see the player, what they're thinking. Like, they're trying to go back in, they're trying to play mind games and do-si-do with the hero and like, oh, you're going to chase me, I'm going to chase you when you're running away. Right. And they get a little bit overconfident and greedy. Somewhat acceptable if you're a Silencer, just so you can get in range to get that negative in.
Yeah. Unfortunately, just there, we did end up missing Bulb ended up missing a fissure, not quite hitting the Silencer, and then he was able to walk away after the call down. So could have been another quick kill on him, but he got the Midas off, was able to walk away from that one scot-free, only taking the first rocket coming on down from that gyrocopter. They do end up getting the tier 1 in the mid lane. We also did see the tier 1 fall top. The DD on the Templar Assassin made me think for a second, are they going to try and go for a little bit more? But as of now, they're just going to be leaving it alone. We do have the Slark moving on into the jungle, and with 1,200 gold, do you just go straight Scotty here? Is there any other option, pretty much, or is it sometimes a Sanjin Yasha game? What's your feel for Slark?
Scotty is fine. I see more players go for S and Y than not. And I think it is going to be an S and Y. He just picked at the Blade Alacrity, as I said that. So probably an S and Y. Which I think is totally fine. It gives you lots of movement speed. you don't really need the movement speed outside of the fight, but inside of a fight, when you're revealed and people can see you and your ult's not triggered, um, it's nice to be able to maneuver around, have that maim chance and whatnot. Good stats. It's just an overall very, very good item.
It seems like
So some tower
everybody
trades
loves it.
though.
I mean, Gyrocopter's
Yeah.
going it also. It's just be all end all a little bit. Winter Wyvern now going to push out this top lane a little bit as well. It is it something I felt like for a long time people were saying that SNY, the problem with it was that it didn't translate well into the late game. Has that problem been solved with Silver Edge, or is it still a problem going for that build? Or what are your sort of thoughts on it as it goes into the later stages?
I think it actually maybe has been solved with the recent patch because I see Teal is getting ganked or something. Yep, he's getting ganked. There's the Echo. He makes a really nice leap outwards. The silence to secure his safety. That's a lot of S's in one sentence. And he will be okay. So that wasn't a blink dagger or anything on their ES. I think he just walked up with the Winter. No, Winter's Curse wasn't even there. So yeah, again, I think this goes back to the point that you can't kill this guy without a blink on ES or in an instant initiation with Wyvern's Winter's Curse with everyone around him.
I'm a little
But
bit
I
confused.
really think it has to be the blink.
Because I think that he had an Invis rune. I don't know how Slark was able to get off that. I wonder if it was the Dark Pack,
Oh,
maybe? I'm not sure. They're going to be able to find Mr. Drizzy Drake, though. He is going to end up falling. Soul Assumption is the last hit there. I don't know, though, because he had the Invis rune and just walked up with the Echo Slam. That was really rage. I don't know if it was just that he had just hit a Dark Pack or something. Anyways.
Maybe he didn't time his farming patterns because, like for instance, sometimes when you see a Slark farming a creep wave, hold that thought, big nuke there coming out from UR, but when they farm like a creep wave, they hit the ranged creep once and they start attacking in the middle of it and they start to Dark Pact. If you don't time their farming patterns, you can screw it up. So maybe that's what happened. Sometimes a lot of ES players, and I didn't see it, but will like try to get the absolute most out of their stun combo, and they will be slightly late to the next possible stun.
Yeah.
And in that, like, in that moment, I can't think of the word, interval, in the interval of time, you can get your Dark Pact off. Maybe that's what happened, but I'm not 100% sure.
You sound so smart when you use these big words. I swear, it's
Oh,
unfair.
interval. Interval's not the biggest word, but I should know that being a music major and all.
Oh, most definitely. Well, you're going to be pushing on up this tier 2 tower in the bottom lane against the Radiant. It just felt like DC have consistently been applying pressure. And, you take a look now at the net worth. While it is in the favor in terms of the top net worth for Slark, across the board for the team, DC is ahead. Not by a large margin, but a decent-sized margin. And it does feel like they're in the driver's seat a little bit to at least be able to apply pressure across the map. It kind of feels like Root is just avoiding engagements whenever possible and taking what towers they can as a trade. Is there a point where they're going to be able to fight, or is it just sort of this is going to have to be the whole dynamic of this game?
It seems very similar to last game, where they have a couple of heroes on their team, one or two, that are just getting pretty damn good farm. I mean, the Slark is very, very farmed, but they're not making good moves as a team. They've made a couple of decent smoke ganks, some smoke ganks that really shouldn't have been successful, but by the luck of the draw, it was. But it's really got to be around this Blink Dagger on the Slardar. Very good times to cast this ultimate from the Silencer. They just need to be a little bit more crisp in their play. But not taking anything away from DC, I think they've actually been playing a lot better than I've seen them lately. Maybe their scrims have been going a little bit better. They've been focusing on certain aspects of their flaws, but they've been looking a lot more sharp to me.
Yeah.
Howie getting dove here.
Gonna end up getting found out. The Light Strike Ray Laguna Blade comes on out. Global Silence last second is gonna end up falling. No way to save him there. For the kill on the support, burning that Global Silence again, it does feel like it's a bit much, but making sure that they're at least able to find these kills, to me it does make a good amount of sense. Do DC
Yes.
feel comfortable, willing to move on out now that maybe Global is down?
I don't know if they will have time. They don't have an Aegis anymore.
Yeah.
They do have the blink on ES, so maybe he can go for like a duo smoke play with Gyro or something. But I think that was totally fine to cast the global there. Like they couldn't see what was behind him, and they were taking a little bit too much time in that gank. DC or TC on DC, is backing up quickly. Blink coming off from Drizzy Drake himself. Will has come out. That should be a very, very dead Gyro. The amount of auto attack damage with Slark plus the Slardar with the amp on there is just insane. They also forced a TP out. They didn't see it, but they canceled it. All those little TP rotations that don't actually work are actually pretty huge. Very, very big in the early game, but still relevant here in the mid game.
Yeah. Well, and this is kind of what the whole dynamic I feel like that Slark brings to your draft is that it's not a hero that farms the fastest. Of course, with Dark Pack, you're able to take camps quicker than some. It's not like a Shadow Fiend where you can take big stacks. So you jump on in, you find a kill with your Shadow Blade. Afterwards, you sneak on out, you clear out the enemy jungle, and this to me is sort of the essence of what this hero is able to accomplish. And sometimes it doesn't end up working out because you don't find those kills. But this has seemed like just a textbook great Slark game for Root here. I mean, he's been able to get pretty much everything that he wants. Is he going to be
Yeah.
able to get out of control though? That's the question that I have. Scaling late game.
I think ES is very, very good and probably the only good hero against him, and it's going to be centered around him because what I see happening potentially is that there's not very many counters to Slark this game. He feels like he can play very, very boldly, and he's been playing very well so far. I could see potentially, though, like ES just bombing him with a huge ult, TA blinking in and melding, Silence coming out to thinking that he can save him, but because the meld strike was already like going off, the damage is just going to be too much. That could be a problem. However, if he builds up a ton of like for instance, if he goes like Scotty now after the S and Y, I'm not sure what his normal build is. But if he does, that means his stats are going to be so high, and it's not going to be that easy to burst him down. So, yeah, it's very difficult to gauge just how much damage you can do. I think the ES is kind of under level 2. He's not even level 11 yet. So
Yeah.
his ulti's not going to do too much damage. He is close, but
Well, looks like they're going to be looking for something here at this point in time. TA boldly walk in on up the hill here. They're kind of in the middle of everybody. I think that if they knew, well, yeah, it's probably a little bit too dangerous to try and take that fight. But taking a look at the vision now for Root, they actually have pretty great vision across their jungle, and some somewhat aggressive wards where they're spotting out a lot of stuff. Meanwhile, DC, despite the fact that they have the TA traps out there, in between these jungle locations where people are going to be farming, there isn't the greatest vision. So seeing ganks coming is always going to be a bit of a problem. And of course, with a Slark on your team, you're going to be able to know where that vision is and be very, very cognizant of that and making sure that they're dewarding. That's going to need to come down to a lot of communication, though, I imagine.
hey, there's your big word, cognizant.
Oh, there we go, man.
It's definitely bigger than interval.
Yeah, definitely. Occasionally, I drop them out every now and then.
Yeah,
Also
yeah.
going to be a BKB up on TC, I'm imagining. We did have one finished off for Yawar, so that's already done, along with the Blink Dagger and the Desolator. I don't know, sometimes you end up seeing people say that like it's a game-losing item, but to me this just feels like a little bit preventative, that they're going to be able to take the fights that they want and feel very confident going in on these heroes.
I love the BKB from TA. Like I think that she needs to have a way to get out of a potential snowball follow-up from Slark going in. The pounce, while you don't want to... Oh, big damage coming
Oh
out
my
from
goodness.
Da Vinci, a.k.a. Yawar, with that Haster helping him out. But as Derp Derp falls. But I like it, even though you don't like to think of BK being a pounce. Sometimes that's the thing that just kills you. And I think he needs it, so I like the pickup. It's also going to help him get out of the silence if he really needs to. Wouldn't be surprised to see him also go for a Manta this game. Like Manta Butterfly, I think would be a nice round out item selection here for the TA.
Sometimes you end up seeing them go for like more of the MKB style. They are going to be able to go on in here into Roshan and start to take this down, but with not really any clear evasion as of yet. It seems like that's not going to be their option. It does look like Root don't realize this is going on. Probably, can they contest this even? I guess with the Winter Wyvern and Earthshaker there, it's too dangerous.
It is scary against even the call down too.
Right.
They have very, very good Roshan. Again, this is the second game in a row where, on top of the ability to kill Roshan quickly, they have very good fighting around close quarters. Similar to like how a Darkseer functions. And this is going to be another solo Rosh here for Yawar. She's getting bashed up like crazy, though. My god, if he gets bashed like twice in a row, he might die.
Oh.
Look at these. That was so close, actually. Oh my god.
Oh, they're going on into the jungle now. Are going to be able to find and pick on off Tusk just like that. Age is still on the ground. They're leaving it alone for a moment at least. Don't want to end up giving that one away. Force Staff also going to be picked up for the Silencer, so that extra little bit of mobility hopefully is going to end up being the difference between life and death. And it looks like actually TA is going to end up going for the crit. That's a kind of
Yeah, I forgot about that. That's of course the go-to. I should have thought of that, but that's Totally fine, totally standard. I just thought of the Manta just because it's good to have multiple way. You don't want to spend your BKB every time to get out of every silence
Hmm.
if you don't need to, because the duration goes down, and you need the duration for team fights when you're in the middle and in the fray. But crit, of course, is just works so well with the high damage item of the Deso and his skill set. And Ryo, aka 747, looks like he might get solo picked off here with Bulba plus Birds. Birds coming down, and no, he doesn't have enough damage because that Echo Slam is on cooldown.
Hmm. Yeah, I think that he probably just wanted to see if he could make something happen there, getting lucky with maybe one of the bird stuns, but not going to happen. The Slardar does finish off his Force Staff as well, so you talked about sort of the luxury items that this hero gets that you don't necessarily need a whole heck of a lot, but every little bit helps, and particularly when you've got these AoE type spells, you know, the Call Down, also the Winter Wyvern, ulti, being able to sort of force staff people away and move people around inside of all of these becomes so much more relevant, so much more important. I think that this probably to me makes the most sense as Lina picks up a Blink Dagger and Slark ends up picking on up the Scotty.
Yeah.
It's going to be scary here.
I love both of those pickups. I was just going to mention how I think Lena needs a blink, and she has it now. So very good for her. Scotty, I think, is the right choice here because I don't think you have, unless you have good vision of the ES, I don't think you can BKB quickly enough the Echo Slam, and that's the only, and of course the Winter's Wyvern Curse, and those are the things that are really going to be the only way to kill you. So I think it's better to just stock up on the stats and call it a day.
Well, here we go. We're getting into a situation now where teams are relatively even. There is an Aegis up on DC. Can they take advantage of it? It feels to me like this is somewhat of a scary team fight to be taking. Oh, and they might actually be able to find on out the Slark. He does still have his vision there, but they have the sentry wards down, ready to go if he does end up moving too far forward. But he'll know about it as well as they just start to push on down this tier 3 tower. This is so scary to me, but the birds, as well as the Desolator, they're going to be able to make this happen. Force staff forward, but then the blink back. Tipping that rod in.
Nice force attempt there by Drizzy Drake, forcing Yawar in, but Yawar quickly blinked out. And it was a nice idea. Like they have to do something. They can't just watch their towers and racks fall. Like it sucks. Oh, I heard an Echo Slam. There it is. Initiation onto Willis. This is exactly how I called it, but he does actually get the ulti off just in time, forced out to help himself too. Drizzy Drake might be falling. There's the Winter's Curse. It's a one-man, but they still get it. Wow, that was so close. They almost got the kill onto him. It would have been... Does he even have buyback? Because he just bought the Scotty. No, he didn't.
Oh, man. So a little bit unfortunate there. They didn't end up finding that one. And now that instant initiation is going to be down for a long time for them. I still think they can keep this pressured on out. I don't know. They use the Winter Wyvern ulti as well. Interestingly,
They did use Global, though.
Oh, okay, there we go. So that's maybe the moment.
And they still have Aegis, so I think you definitely fight this if you're DC.
Okay, they're getting in position. Slark is probably still going to be able to do a lot of damage in these team fights. You need to be able to keep an eye on him and make sure he's not going to be in the backlines tearing apart somebody else on your team. But the tier 3 is going to end up falling with no Slardar, no chance for the ability to catch. They're going to have to back on out. They're soon going to be losing the racks here as well. The Desolator as well as those Visage Birds doing a lot of work. God, this is still so scary. There's the jump forward. Is going to be able to catch onto the TA. And a nice little pounce. Not going to be able to connect because of the BKB popped. But look at him tear apart that TA in the back lines. We're going to see Bulba fall in just a second. The Lina able to blink forward and make that happen, making good use of that item. The Snowball keeping alive this Tusk a little bit longer, but Derp is going to end up falling as Visage finishes him off. The Ato is going to be able to keep isolated this Silencer, but they're not going to be able to keep control of this Slark. He's tearing through Owie. Oh, there's the Rocket going to be able to connect a long stun, and there's the TA finally going to be able to meld him away. As you mentioned, no buyback on the Slark. 65 gold away from it. Da Vinci ends up falling, but that's just the Aegis going to end up getting popped. One more right clip from the Gyrocopter is going to end up taking out the Slardar, and he is going to be dead for a very long time. DC looking in control of this game too, as they are ripping through the barracks here.
They just, they use these Aegises so much better than Root does. Like, actually, I don't even know if they even used it well last game at all. I don't even think... Did Root even get an Aegis last game?
I don't think they did. I'm not sure, though.
It's hard for me to remember, but they're just using them so effectively. They're trying to force them to go... Oh, Winter's Curse onto... There again, the silences are just coming out none of the best times. So Yule's self-Yules to try to save himself. He does get the blink out. He actually saves himself. Blocked out, though, Bobo. He dunks himself. Or dunks 747. He does force a buyback. Buyback from the Slark as well, as he's just got gold for it with only a little bit of respawn timer left. Buryu will fall, and I think they will try to retreat with a lot of momentum gained. Nice bird stomps there, too, to secure his retreat.
Yeah, and they're not going to be able to... Well, TC is still in a little bit of trouble here. The Force Staff, the extra mobility, nice Earthshaker Fissure, securing the retreat for TC. He's still in a little bit of danger. They have complete and total vision of him. If you take a look at the gold change again, it was absolutely huge after those buybacks, and they end up finding the Crush after the chase all the way from the Tier 3s. The Yule Scepter on top of the Slaughter, trying to keep alive TC as long as possible, but the Laguna Blade is going to finish him off, and it kind of felt like they might have overstayed the welcome. Nice blink away by Yawar. They do still have the stun that's going to come in on top of the Slark. Not going to be able to have Echo Slam up, but look at them fall with the stuns coming out from Owie. They're
GG.
tearing them apart. Oh,
Yeah, GG,
good
well
game
played.
mode gets called.
Both of the cores that died that had no buybacks and they just bought back died. In the meantime, while that was all going on, Owie finished off the racks with his birds while they were retreating. It was just really difficult for them to take a fight because they had to like force themselves to go on the Aegis carrier. They didn't want to. They had to waste global like so many times that game when it just didn't do anything for them. And you called it actually, just thinking that some of these silencer ultis were just not going to do anything, and they just didn't. They happened after all the important spells were already cast, and it just wasn't enough. And I mean, the Slark was extremely farmed, but didn't have enough support coming his way.
Well, and with that, they're going to take a 2-0 lead in this best of 5 here. DC one game away from moving on to the Summit 4 and beating out all of the rest of the American qualifying teams. Very interesting decisions are going to need to get made here, maybe dealing with how they deal with Roshan, if they're going to